So what I'm going to talk about in this video, I think it started with the Hugh Edwards. For those of you who are out there, if you don't know who Hugh Edwards is a he's trying to be again, a TV presenter for the BBC. Let's have a look at Hugh Edwards. Now, Hugh was Mr. How can I explain what Hugh Edwards was like to people who didn't know he was like, what he was like? So, yeah, very respected, long-term presenter on the BBC. He was earning about £250,000 a year, I think. You know, he was literally one of their most notable presenters. So sort of respected. He was the one that was chosen to report the death of Queen Elizabeth, report on the funeral. So family man, Welsh, married, 3 children, I think. Oh, you know, paragon of virtue. You know, Prissy Hugh, he would tell us all about religion and, you know, what a perfect man he was. And anyway, then it turns out that actually he's been soliciting nude pictures from a teenager, a male teenager, and also he was in possession of child P on his phone of really quite high grade. You know, I mean, I know they grade it, and you just think it shouldn't be graded, really. Just even having anything on there on your phone that's to do with children in sex should be high grade. But anyway, yeah, and he was convicted. I think he pled guilty. We're going to look at that later, the full circumstances. But he didn't get prison. Oh no, he toddled off there to court with his suitcase, just in case he was given a prison sentence. But no, people like Hugh Edwards don't get prison sentences, do they? People like you and me, our family, our friends, would have got a prison sentence for what Hugh Edwards did. But not BBC presenters, you know, not professional people, high incomes. Some of them don't even get taken to court in the first place, like Andrew, formerly known as Prince. You know, I'm surprised Hugh Edwards even got taken to court, to be honest. But he didn't get a prison sentence. He's on bail or what, parole? What has he got? A suspended sentence? We'll read about that anyway. So he's probably out on license or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, he's trying to make a comeback. Because what he's telling us is the fact he's actually gay, or at the least bisexual. It's a mental illness. And he is in a perfect place to talk about mental illness. So he's taking the Margaret Thatcher line towards being gay. Homosexuality apparently is a mental illness, not you know, the way he is, or, you know, like a normal way to be, if you like. It is normal. It's normal for a lot of people, you know. So, but not Hugh. No, it's mental illness, and he's gone on this Substack. That we're going to talk about what Substack is, where you can blog away, say whatever you like, more or less. And he's decided to go on there. So that was the first thing that I saw. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do a video about that. I can't believe he's saying that. I mean, it was more for me, like the fact he was saying that being, you know, that he had a mental illness. Makes me really angry, that. And, you know, if I was gay, I would be really, really angry, because what he's saying is basically, no, I asked for those photos of the young lad, not because I'm gay, but because I've got a mental illness. So not even owning his own character. Do you know what I mean? His own you know, if he's gay or bisexual, that's the way he is. Nobody hates him for that, or certainly I don't hate him for that. I hate him for having child porn on his phone. And being, imagine how long he's been married and he's got 3 adult children, and he's going out there telling us all how to live our life and what a brilliant sort of religious man he is. I tell you, Welsh people would be outraged because Hugh Edwards was also like a bit of an epitome of a Wales boy done good, you know what I mean? Like, sort of, you know, a representative of Wales, all that's good about Wales. And look at, you know, this man had feet of clay. So, you know, that's what annoys me. I don't care if he's gay or if he's bisexual or whatever he is. But what I do care about is that he's lied to his wife for God knows how many years. Imagine covering up a life like that. Because not only, you know, really being gay, but you're living this life, you know, with your family because you don't want to admit you're gay because it's a mental illness. But also he's soliciting photos from teenage boys having child pee on his phone, you know, having illicit meetings with men and boys, you know, likes them young, argue. Doing all that, and in the meantime having this sort of surface happy family life as, you know, this Mr. respectability. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's the duplicitousness of it that gets me, you know, not whether I don't care what his sexuality is. Anyway, so if that's how it started, I saw that. I thought, right, I'm going to do a video about it. He should have gone to jail. Any other person would have gone to prison. He had serious child pee on his phone. Greg Wallace, he's another one. But he's not. I mean, Hugh Edwards is especially bad. I've still got a picture of Hugh Edwards somewhere showing his ass. Because, yeah, he was sending. I mean, this. You know, his self-monitoring is ridiculous. But, you know, this is a narcissistic trait. He doesn't see. He's prissy Hugh Edwards, who, you know, for ages has been on the BBC, you know, telling us all how to live our lives with his immaculate cufflinks and this, that, and the other. His perfect family life. Go to church, do this, do that. But he can't see now. He's like, he can't not be in the public eye. Do you understand? So that's not a narcissistic tendency. I mean, he's got plenty of money. I think the BBC had to pay him like a cut-off fee, didn't they, or whatever. I don't know if he's ever paid that back. There was a big thing about he should pay it back. Because, of course, the BBC is owned by the people who pay their licenses. And, you know, people are feeling that they're just paying their license fee to support predators. Anyway, so I don't think he's trying to make... It's not a money thing, I don't think, with Hugh. And that's how he was buying nude photos from the young lad, wasn't it? Because the young lad wanted the money. And he was sending him £200 here, £200 there for a nude picture or whatever. And he was only caught in the end because that young lad's parents found out what had been going on and went to the BBC. BBC did nothing. And then the parents saw Hugh Edwards accepting an award on the telly after they'd been to the BBC and complained about him, you know, being a predator as far as their young son was concerned. He was above the legal age. I think he was 17. And so they went to the newspapers because the BBC was doing nothing. Anyway, that's how he got caught, wasn't it? So yeah, so I don't think it's a money reason that Hugh Edwards is doing it. It is, he just is such a narcissist, such a sociopath. He can't bear not being in the public eye, and he wants to put his side of it over. Why doesn't he just keep a low profile? They can't, these people. The same with Casey Anthony. She's lucky enough to get away with murdering her own daughter. You think she'd just, keep a low profile, but no, she's got to be in the public eye. Anyway, just ridiculous. Exactly. The thing is, there are PDFs in every walk of life. This is it. Not only gay people are PDFs, not only men are PDFs, women can be PDFs. Anyone can be a bloody PDF, it feels like. Honestly, the more you look into this, you think, God, you'd be quicker thinking who isn't a PDF. In famous people, I feel like fame, sometimes it just makes people go a bit, is it because people maybe have these dark thoughts, but when they're just like ordinary people and they've not got loads of money and stuff, that they just keep them to themselves? But it seems like when people get famous and get money and power, they just like go for it then, don't they? Anyway, yeah, Casey Anthony, I don't think Casey Anthony, maybe these days, would she have got off with it? I just feel the prosecution must have been pretty crap. Because, as I said, the judge had the readers before he read it out to the public gallery, because he just could not believe that she'd been found not guilty. So if that defence managed to convince the jury that Casey, so it wasn't only a hung jury, it was not guilty. And when you look at it, now, if you just can't believe she could have been found not guilty. But though something went wrong in that case, isn't it? So, I don't know, something went wrong. And, she was found not guilty, so she's entitled to live a life how she wants to, isn't she, under the eyes of the law? Now, in the eyes of the public, however, I think it was like the O.J. Simpson case. It was on that par, wasn't it? Somebody being found innocent of something that they clearly were guilty of. Would it happen nowadays with the advances we've got with DNA and stuff like that? I don't know. Because you when we've covered any case that we've covered, you're never sure, are you? How the defence will present, how the will the prosecution be good enough to secure a prosecution? Because of course, really, it's not the defendant doesn't have to prove anything. It's the prosecution that has to prove that they've done it, not so much they've got to prove they didn't do it. So yeah, I don't know if that case was talked about now, was now, whether she would have been found innocent. She's certainly guilty in the eyes of the public, I think. And I can't even say, it's a shame if she's innocent, because I just don't think she is. So, that's my opinion. She can sue me. She probably will. I don't know. She'll sue me or not. I couldn't give a toss, to be honest. I'd do a crowdfunding for my defence. I think I'd do quite well if I had to do a crowdfunding to defend myself against Casey Anthony. Yes, much harder now to get away with crimes. So this is my point. So she should just count herself lucky, in my opinion, that she did get away with it. And keep a low profile and try and make up for it before she meets her maker. And then she will have to pay for what she did. She knows what she did to that little girl. She knows. Casey Anthony knows what she did, but she may well have actually convinced even herself that she didn't do it now, because she's such a narcissist, such a sociopath. They can do that. She's probably convinced herself. Anyway, so let me take my banner off, and I'm going to go through these two cases sort of briefly, or I'm just going to read about them on AI. Some of you won't know about Hugh Edwards. If you're not in the UK, maybe you don't know about what happened with Hugh Edwards. And then there'll be some of you that, because the Casey Anthony case, it was a famous case, but it's quite a long time ago, might not know about that. So I'm going to I will be going through their cases very briefly. But first of all, I want to tell you about Substack. So this is now, what is Substack? Some of you may know, I don't know if any of you have got an account with Substack or follow anybody who's on there. I've got an account on there because I do follow someone who's on there. But maybe I should, I never put blogs up or anything, but it's really for blogging. Let me just read out to you. So this is the AI overview of Substack. In fact, I'll share this. Now, this is, the thing is, free speech, all that. Everybody's entitled to a platform, aren't they? In this world that we live in now. We live in the world of social media. One of the benefits of social media is free speech. We can come on and we can chat about things. Nobody's interested in watching the news anymore, at the mainstream news, really, are they? Just maybe sort of occasionally, because you don't believe anything they say on there. The good thing about social media is you can give your own views. No matter whether at the end of the day we've all got our views and we can't agree on everything. But of course, then so Substack is one of those sort of platforms where anyone can go on, create a profile, start blogging. It's a blogging platform. And yeah, it's popular. You can make money off it apparently, because you can put your blogs behind a paywall. Some people, that's probably what she's doing. I don't know what both of them, and maybe not. I don't think they'll put their blogs behind a paywall, because they won't want. They're not on there to earn money. I don't think they're almost on there to exonerate themselves or to tell everybody what a great person they are. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so what it says about Substack, let's have a look. So this is the AI overview. Substack is an online publishing platform. It combines blogging, podcasting, I didn't know it had podcasts on it, and video, it says. I must have a look. I mean, I have got an account on there, but I don't think I've ever actually uploaded anything. With built-in email newsletters. That's interesting. It allows independent writers and creators to publish content directly to their audience's inboxes, while offering simple tools to monetize their work through paid subscriptions. So that's what it is. Core features: direct ownership. Creators own their content and their subscriber email lists, and it gives them a direct access to their audience without relying on social media algorithms. Now, I think the newsletter is interesting, because I've often thought, it'd be nice to put out a newsletter sometimes, letting people know what's going on, etc. So I think, listen, there's loads of people on Substack that aren't PDFs or child murderers, that have interesting things to say about whatever their pet subject is, and their followers look forward to their content. So monetization. Writers can offer content for free, or they can lock exclusive posts behind a paywall and charge a monthly or yearly subscription fee. For example, $5 a month. Substack takes a 10% cut of subscription revenue. Media flexibility. Beyond written newsletters, the platform supports integrated podcasts, video hosting, and photo posts. Community tools. Creators can host subscriber-only discussion threads, private chats, and publish notes. A short-form posting feature similar to social media feeds. Who uses it? It is primarily used by independent journalists, subject matter experts, novelists, and creators who want to build a dedicated following directly and bypass traditional publishing gatekeepers. And then it goes on to tell you how to get started, etc. This will be what is the point of Substack? What is the point of Substack? Modern publishing. Now, I until a couple of years ago, what's the downside of Substack? So it says, while Substack is incredibly popular, creators frequently run into limitations with cost, marketing features, and lack of design flexibility. Limited marketing tools. Anyway, that's what Substack is. Now, I'm not saying that everyone on Substack is on there because they can't get on anywhere else or no other place will accept them. But I do feel with Casey Anthony and Hugh Edwards, I'm sure if they thought they could go on YouTube, or I think she is on TikTok as well, Casey Anthony. I don't know why they're on Substack, why they've chosen Substack. Because obviously the more common platforms is YouTube and TikTok. But TikTok's not for everyone. I personally don't like TikTok at all. Then there's Rumble, of course. So the thing is, it's huge now, isn't it? There's so many different platforms. Reddit, you name it. There's loads of different platforms. There's platforms I don't even know about. So you've got like Twitch. You've got, what's that other weird one? Oh God. There's loads. I mean, you can't keep up with them all, really. So people's opinions and thoughts, they're diffused over so many platforms. But probably the biggest platforms are like X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Would you say they're the biggest platforms at the moment? And they're replacing, this is why normal mainstream media is just dead, really, isn't it? Hi, Daniel. Even older people now, like me, like it's not just young people that are going on social media. Everyone's on social media. People are watching YouTube. They're not watching the telly. I can honestly say, well, the only thing I've watched on the telly over the last week, probably, I watched England play last night, I watched the first half of it. I had to go and get number one son from work, so I missed the goals. So I watched the first half where there's no goals. Of course, as soon as I get in the car and start driving, there's 2 goals. Anyway, I don't mind as long as we won, but that's all I've watched on the TV. Apart from that, I'm on YouTube if I'm watching anything, or Netflix. I've signed off Netflix for now. That's what I do with Netflix. I come and go with it. I join for a month or catch up on everything that I've missed. And then I, cancel my subscription then till the next time I want to go back on there. That's what I do with Netflix. See, that's the other thing you can do. You can't do that with your BBC license, can you? You can do that with my membership. With YouTube memberships, you can sign up for a month and, watch all the members' videos and then that are on there, and then you can sign off again. You don't, you've not got to sign up for a year. like you have with the BBC license fee, etc. And people are peed off with the BBC because of things like Hugh Edwards. And I still rather watch the football on the BBC, obviously, because there's no adverts. So the ITV coverage has been really good, but the adverts just drive you mad, don't they? But and there's all good things on the BBC that I like to watch sometimes. But luckily for me, I don't have to pay a license because I'm in Spain. We get it through cable. I don't really know how it works, but anyway, we do get all the English channels. So that's lucky for me that I don't have to pay a BBC license. I think if I was in the UK, I wouldn't be paying it. So yeah, so TV is sort of almost dead, really. It's not dead yet. I suppose some people still watch TV. But, as far as news is concerned, the other thing is you don't ever feel like you get the real story on the news. So even if I watch a news story on the mainstream media, I still have to go on social media to sort of look at it and, try and get other views about it, etc. So that is what Substack is. And now I just want to show you somebody who's just recently gone on. So Farage has just joined up on Substack on the 13th of June. Look, the mainstream media constantly distorts what I say. You can no longer rely on them to report the truth. That's why I've decided to speak to you directly and launch my essays to Britain on Substack. Oh, brilliant. Read my first post out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, of course, I'm being sarcastic. I can't stand Nigel Farage. I'd rather put pins in my eyes than read his essays. But there will be people out there who like him and they'll be wanting to read his essays, and fair enough, that's it. So Nigel Farage is on there now. I'm just thinking who's going to be on there next, like, is Donald Trump on there? I mean, it's like, what, we're going to get murderers as soon as they come out of prison, they're going to go straight to Substack. Anyway, so that's Nigel. So Hugh Edwards, I'm just going to give you the AI summary of Hugh Edwards. What, for those of you who maybe don't know this case. So Hugh Edwards is a Welsh former journalist. He was one of the most recognisable faces on British television. So really, he's like the modern day Jimmy Savile, I think. Loads of other Hugh Edwards. I mean, I think he was in his 60s, was he? Before he was caught. So he's not just suddenly started, being interested in child porn at the age of 60, whatever. He'll have been doing it all his life. He's only just got caught. You think he would just be quiet, wouldn't you? He's lucky he never went to prison. Why can't he just keep his mouth shut? He's a sociopath. He needs attention. He's craving attention. And also he's craving. He wants to say he's got mental illness. So you should feel sorry for him. It's like, oh, I've got mental illness. Yeah, whatever. So he was famously broadcasting major national events such as royal weddings, funerals, and announcing the death of Queen Elizabeth II. I sat with my son. We sat and watched that. You remember that, the day the Queen died? It's all Liz Truss's fault. Liz Truss had been round to see her, hadn't she? God, that'd finish anyone off, wouldn't it? And the poor Queenie, she died. And I remember sitting there watching it, and at some point, so he went and changed his tie. He put on a black tie. But you know, apparently, even as he was reporting on the death of Queen Elizabeth and on Queen Elizabeth's funeral, he was texting teenagers and asking for nude photos, or sending them like soppy messages. It's disgusting. So his career ended abruptly following a major scandal involving criminal offences related to child sex abuse material. 2024, Edwards pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images of children. The court heard he accessed 41 illegal images sent to him via WhatsApp by a convicted sex offender. The collection included 7 Category A images. Category A, the highest, most serious, depicting children as young as 7 years old. He didn't sentence. They don't care about children in the UK. And really, where was the outrage? Because he's not. I don't. He's one of. So God, if he, all over the place. And don't forget, the other thing is they didn't even name him for quite a long time when he first got charged. So there was a lot of aspersions cast on other presenters because nobody knew who it was. They just knew it was some famous BBC. He was in the lineup, Graham Norton. No, because lack of information leads to speculation, doesn't it? So because nobody thought it would be Hugh Edwards. I remember finding out it was Hugh Edwards. I was like, what? Out of all the presenters you would have imagined it might have been, you would never have imagined it would be him. Because he was so respectable. So on September the 16th, 2024, he was handed a 6-month prison sentence. So even if he would have gone to prison, it was only for 6 months. So you can have child porn on your phone. If you're someone like Charles Bronson, who went against the establishment, or if you rob a train like the train robbers, or if you, oh God, yeah, you're in prison for life. But you can have child abuse images on your phone. You only get 6 months if you're Hugh Edwards. And then he didn't even, that was suspended for 2 years. He's placed on the sex offenders register for 7 years. Why only 7 years? Why not for the rest of his life? Ordered to complete 25 rehabilitation sessions. Really, he's not going to get rehabilitated at his age, is he? And mandated to participate in an sex offender treatment program. Ooh, gosh, that's a deterrent, isn't it? Good God. I don't know if you saw the downfall of Hugh Edwards, this documentary they're talking about. It's very good. Martin Clunes, very good actor. So it says here in June 2026, so just now, Edwards attempted a public return by launching a commentary blog on the online platform Substack. The move, Substack will be made up because everyone who's never heard of Substack before will be on there. The move sparked heavy criticism from child abuse prevention campaigners and the public, who have condemned it as inappropriate and disrespectful. He doesn't care. He only cares about himself. He's the victim as far as he's concerned. And they said he's showing a lack of remorse and awareness. But he's defended the blog, stating it's intended to focus on current affairs and mental health awareness drawing from his own experiences with major depressive disorders. Oh my God. Oh my God, he is such a twonk. Such a twonk. Why has he done that? Well, because he's a twonk, I suppose. I'm answering my own question. So let's have a look at his Substack. Hugh Edwards. The Hugh. Doesn't that even just his handle there? The Hugh. He's not only Hugh, he's the Hugh. The one and only Hugh. You know, that's like, you know, it's funny because he wants to come and live in, well, I hope he doesn't come and live in Spain. But quite often in Spain, they call you, like they call me La Vicky. La Vicky, the Vicky. You know, as if there's only one. That's not me calling myself that. That's what they call me because that's the way they talk in Spain. You know, they might say, La Inglesa, the English woman, or La Guapa, the attractive one. Or La Pelirroja, the redhead, La Rubia, or you know, I'm just using feminine descriptions there, but, or they'll use El Rubio or El Juan, you know. So they do that in Spain, but we don't do that in the UK, do we? But he does it because he is not only Hugh, he is the Hugh, the one and only. So, not sure what this picture's supposed to be. Well, I can see where it is. On remorse. I don't know what that means. Is that a post? I'm almost frightened to go in it. I don't. Oh, he's not. They're not allowing comments. I don't. Either nobody's commented or he's blocked comments. Another post. A few early morning thoughts from West Wales on events in distant Westminster. He's having a go about Andy Burnham. Well, I can't stand Andy Burnham. I'm sorry to say I actually agree with him on that. But who is he? Who is he to judge anything? Do you know what I mean? It's like, who are you? You know, when you've done what he's done, who is he to criticise Andy Burnham? Much as I can't stand Andy Burnham and what he's done. What right has he got to criticise anybody? So, he's having a go about that. What else? Somebody there putting it up there that is... Anyway. Oh, great. Hugh Edwards has joined Substack and wants to talk about mental health. Right, actually, I don't know if am I actually in his... I want to be in his... yeah. So these are the... So some posts... He's having a go about Andy Burnham. Putting a picture there, putting it in Welsh. Welcome in Welsh. What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of it? Hugh. Oh, he's on LinkedIn as well. He's on LinkedIn and he's the Hugh on LinkedIn as well because he is the Hugh. There is no other Hugh. Only him. Oh my God. What's he going to put as his profession PDF? It's asking me to sign in. I don't do LinkedIn. Oh, view Hugh's full experience. Sign in. I know what Hugh's experience is. Was he going to apply for a job as a PDF? Oh my God, this man has got no shame. So I'll tell you what, he's not aligning himself with the gay community because not gay, he's got mental illness. But he is still aligning himself with the Welsh flag. Now, if I was Welsh, wouldn't be happy about that at all. You know, there he was. He was like, what's the words I'm looking? You know, Welsh people would have held him up as an example of a good example of a Welsh person. Not anymore. Oh my God. You've got to join to view the profile. I don't want to see his profile. About BBC News trainee from 1984 to 1985. Oh, I know, it won't let me look at it without actually signing in. I'm not signing in, so. Yeah, what a twonk. What an absolute twonk he is. How dare he? Anyway, let me know what you think. So that's Hugh Edwards. So he's trying to reinvent himself on